Good morning, good morning. We've got a potential trap trying to start on NQ and ES here. We've got to be really careful. They're trying to take in here at 606 on ES to like 604, and they're trying to trap here into 490, 500 on ES, on NQ. Just be careful. Looks like they want to try to send it down to like 420 on NQ, or at least take out this wick low if we can't get over that. Yeah. New 15's opening now. I'm just watching this. Just looks like we trapped there for secondaries, pushing down to at least take out that wick low. Head down to this 409, 370 area on NQ. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good first risk off. Russell's still falling, so you have that going for you, and we have PVZ in our 30-second opening range at 409. So maybe you have a little follow through, but we'll see. Same thing with ES. We've got room with that trap there, and PVZ holding. Really great reoffer, but let's see if we get anything else. Yeah, that's a good one. Easy thing to spot with our profile. Should have a little bit more, like 20 more points potentially. Mm-hmm. Holy, what was that?
I was testing the bot. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Should be more stable now. I did an update to it.
Okay. Pushing into target now. This like 405, 410 area. So our 30-second opening range and PVZ value from our rejection and push back down. Remember, this is just a POC shift, right? Like this is our target as we push down into it. Very clear with that guy who got trapped. Now pushing into target from our offer here. That's a super easy trade to kind of anticipate. Does that make sense, boys? Like from what I posted? This is target here. This is your POC shift. You got your rejection of your POC on ES. You got a little bit more room, technically, on ES down to 92s, but yeah, right. But as soon as you spot like that guy who's offsides or potentially trapped at highs, and then we see that secondaries, right? Like we're just watching this POC shift from these highs up at 502 down here, and we just reverted back down to this open, right? We're back into our value. We rotated through value off of the failure, right? So as soon as we see like the first thing I spotted, I just walked in, saw this. So we saw absorption in highs, strong sellers step in, push down, sellers taking in size from where our buyers were previously, buyer attempting to push above, trapped, strong sellers stepping in after that secondary trap, right? So now we have this 490, 500 level that we're watching, and we're seeing sellers step in, and we know that we just entered back inside of our value area on the day, right? So now that we have this trap, what are we watching for here? Well, this is our POC rejection, right? So if we now have trap traders here, and we have strong secondary sellers stepping in here on a secondary move, where are we going to go? Well, we're going to go back to where value was found last, right? That's our
So
entire
Total
trade
Energy
plan right there
CEO
based off of that.
Puyan says oil imbalance may last until 2027 on stockpile demand.
You feel me? There it is. That's your trade. Right? And that's how we identified it. It's the same thing. This guy, and then what did we get afterwards? The most important thing. Just because we see that doesn't mean that there's going to be anything actionable. We then see aggressive selling after a trap buyer, right? And then that leads to your leg down. And then where do we go? Well, to where buying was happening last, right? And what does that look like? Well, that's our 30-second opening range and our full value rotation. One for your playbook. Yes, really pretty setup as well, just with this trapped liquidity above on our footprint, and then opening below our POC to value of our previous 15-minute candle, as well as below our POC shift here, and inside, right, our PVZ indicator. Good lower high, rejection, push down, right down to our value, right? Our PVZ value low. Just a full transition of our range. Just kind of perfect. Yeah, that is NQ. But I mean, you can see the same thing on footprint, right? It's just it's another
The
way to
Russell
visualize it.
2000 index down 1.1%.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I gotta try both, but I find it a bit more nuanced, like we were talking about yesterday, right? Because it allows for like this was a good like what did we just do now here on NQ? To me, like I got this like secondary here, right? Like where look at those wicks into that buyer, right? At 430. And then we saw that selling pressure step in here again. So like to me, I find it like it's been very nice for our recent price action, but I don't have enough experience with it to know if there's a better setting. But I feel like I can visually understand it, and I'm getting the information that's actually helpful to my trading. So watch our
Planeteer
reoffer.
shares hit 7-week high, last up 7.3%.
Decent bid so far into that low. Just watching to see if we'll actually be able to reject and hold here with this POC shift, right? Are we going to be able to build below our open, or is this going to trap, right, and then step back above and then rotate back through? A really important area. Russell starting to finally show a little relief. Well, no, we don't know if it's going to be real or not, but yes, also at our pivot. Just retesting ETH highs here. We're watching to see again, like if this is going to be able to flip and get back over this node, or if this node is going to be our rejection, and then we're going to get like a continuation down here. Just watching our node. Watch Russell as well to see if we break downtrend or if this holds. Same thing on NQ. Man, I got like the worst sleep of my life last night. Ugh. I don't even remember falling asleep. I just remember being awake, tossing in my bed nonstop the entire night. That's what I remember. And then my alarm went off. Russell's continuing to push, watching to see if we make this higher or low or not. This is where they would offer if they're going to offer anywhere into this 405, 420. We need to see this absorb, or again, this will be our flip. Yes, trying to recover our ETH high.
According to the Wall Street Journal, the US wants autos under USMCA at least 50% made in the US.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good first risk off into 420. And then let's see if we can build here. We watch to see how the bid reacts into like 405, 400. Can we hold our 30-second opening range and our PVC value here? And if we can build, we'll push up to 480. 440, 480. Watching ES here as well. Russell seeing our first signs of weakness at our edge and our previous 15. Watching to see if we can hold our value low of that candle though, is our higher low, right? Just watching, like, is this now reactive? And how do we push into this? Right? Is this reactive? How do we push into these highs? It's very two-sided here. You can see this area, right? They're two-sided. They're trying here into this node. This 420.
US government proposal, part of the USMCA restructures talks with Mexico, would also seek to increase the US content from current 75% North American rule. That's according to the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah. We're basically just watching to see if bids can hold this like 385, 400, eat this, and then we'll test into 440 if they do. If they fail here, we'll look for the reoffer below like 65s. This is value of our previous candle here, where the bid has to be. So far bouncing our value low. Good bid into 440 at least. Let's see if we get more, if this is where they try to hit. It's a good first trade. It's not a bad trade, but I'd like to see if we get the flip over this POC here, right? We held the value low of our previous candle and our 30-second opening range after trapping this liquidity below. We got our bid to hold where it needed to on both ES and on NQ. We're coming into our seller now in our POC of this candle, right? This has to be your first risk off. We watch to see if Russell can continue to bid. If Russell can hold this low and continue, then we can look for that next leg up if we can flip this. Again, you can see the two areas, right? Where sellers there, buyers here. You can see we just traversed this node in its totality, right? There's nothing more until we can get above. We are building within this node. Does that make sense? Do you see that node? This is your top edge of that node. This is your bottom edge of that node. We just traversed through it. Yes? We have not shown any desire to push higher than that. That's how we marked these areas. Okay. That's how we develop our targets. You need RTY to break this these higher lows here, and then we need to push below. ES already trying. NQ attempting, but not a ton yet. We want to see this Russell break down off of our hold of our highs. Good rotation back down to our lows, but we haven't taken out lows yet. So it's still just traversing our 30-second opening range, but there is some weakness. If Russell gets followed through, then we get the breakdown. Until then, right, we haven't been able to show the desire yet on NQ. Wick low still maintaining. Let's see if they can get this. Good so far. No breakdown on Russell yet, but good rejections of our 30-second opening ranges following pathings. Low taken out. Taking off a little bit more risk here into 320. Into our reversion zone. Good hold, good flip. Let's see if we get follow through. We need to see sell side really show. Holding runners for a potential push down, but I've taken off half size just in case. All right, I gotta move charts. We've got a VPOC here and previous day POC here on ES at our 580, 584 area. We'll watch to see how we interact here. If we can get back below this, then we can traverse yesterday's value on ES. Right, so this is a big level to see if we're going to get more on the day. This will lead us to ETH low if we can flip. This makes for a really great first target from our pivot. And then we watch to see if, again, like this flips and then goes down. Beautiful follow through trade, right? We rejected our POC of previous candle on both ES and on NQ. Look below our 30-second opening range, got our reoffer, and then got our rotation down. Do we see anything that gave us confidence there as well at that 30-second opening range that made sense to take? Look at that area at our 30-second opening range low. Taking off more here into 285. And then we leave runners.
The Nasdaq 100 index turns negative, reversing gain of 0.8%.
Great job. Like, we're not doing anything crazy here, boys. We're watching our value to POC from previous day here. See how we reject on ES. See if that gives us our next leg down to ETH low on retest. Russell still flat. NQ at target.
At 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the Canadian budget balance, prior 5.66 billion.
What's up, Ali? I'm good. How are you?
Seeing some weakness in WTI crude here, weakness in the US dollar as well. Seeing a true social post from here from Trump, saying Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately open. No tolls for unrestricted shipping traffic in both directions.
No change until we flip 410s, boys. Just a reoffer.
Trump further saying all water mines, bombs, if any, will be terminated and will be removed through detonation. Numerous such mines with our great underwater minesweepers. Trump on Iran says I will be meeting now in the Situation Room to make my final determination.
We need to very clearly flip.
Trump says Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb, and the Hormuz Strait must be immediately open, no tolls.
This is just a reoffer of our 30-second opening range and a push into these highs, right?
So again, just Trump saying that he will be in the meeting now in the Situation Room to make a final determination on Iran.
Watch Russell as we push into VWAP for the reversion. It adds momentum until we get there.
Trump says the naval blockade will now be lifted. So again, Trump saying the naval blockade will now be lifted.
There's a bid that's going to try at 360 to flip that offer, right? It can rotate up to 420. But until we get over this 410, 420, that is the same seller as before.
So again, seeing further weakness in WTI crude here. Bit of strength in the S&P 500, weakness in the US dollar.
We're watching, again, this is where we get absorbed last, right? We're watching as we push up into this, what happens. This is the POC to value of our previous candle, right?
Trump says Iran's uranium will be unearthed by the United States.
Watch to see how we interact here now that we've rotated back up to POC of previous candles. These need to flip for me to have a bias, or it's the same sell side as before. Does that make sense? Right? Nothing has changed about our trend. We've just rotated back up to our seller.
So Trump in the True Social saying ships caught in the strait due to our amazing unprecedented naval blockade, which will now be lifted, may start the process of heading home. So again, Trump saying the uranium will be unearthed by the US in coordination with Iran plus International Atomic Energy Agency and then destroyed. So Treasuries extend advance as Trump comments on Iran talks.
This is Russell into VWAP.
And Trump saying no money will be exchanged until further notice.
Holding our same pivot as before, no change. Taking off my first risk here into 320 from our 365, look below. Watch to see if we make a higher low here at 320. That's the only way bids save this. Why is that
So
our
running
first
finance
target?
time, expecting the Canadian budget balance
It's our
prior
reversion zone, right?
5.66
Where the
billion.
bid stepped in. And where that aggressive buy side candle came up on ES. It's also your previous day value high at 85.86, right? So we're just watching to see if we're going to make the higher low here on the recovery of this. And we're just traversing between these two as POC attempts to shift down here. So same thing on NQ, right? We're just watching this shift that happened. We're playing into that, and we're watching to see, is this going to reject and then rotate down, right? And then what happens from here? Does the bid step up and then hold this for rotations up? If it does, great, right? Like then that's good. But we need to see that first. So we take off our first risk here, and then we wait to see if we can flip and then hold this edge high, or if this continues to maintain, and then if this, you know, goes lower, then we'll do something new. But again, we haven't shifted. We haven't seen a right side of V yet, right? The POC's into the low. That's a good sign of potential offside liquidity into our low. We still need to get back over our sell side POCs here, right? So it's just a range trade until we're able to flip that.
One minute remaining.
$30 until news and new 15s. Holding where we need to still, no change. Higher low, but no ability to push above our POCs of previous candles on our sell side. Just watching to see if we're going to do anything new or if we're just going to continue to traverse between these 2 points that we've identified. Same thing on Russell with our rejection at VWAP, like we talked about, for that lost momentum. We're watching our halfway back to see if we find a bid as we push down into it and these previous highs.
10
If Russell
seconds.
was going to make a higher low, it would be here, and then we'll traverse between this VWAP and this other. If it flips and then we rotate down, we'd be looking for something like this. So just watch to see if Russell finds a low.
Minus
here as we push, halfway
29.73
back.
billion. Minus 29.73 billion.
You can see NQ opened at POC to value of our previous candle with our offer holding so far, a lower high. We've got our bid at our lows, and we're just watching where it's just this range that we're trading with Russell holding the higher low. ES PVC here at 86, just into yesterday's value. Again, there's nothing here until we decide on a direction here. Sell side bias is still inlaid technically, but we've got trap traders on either side, and we're just rotating in between. We need to flip this for more. There's just an absorption battle to see who's going to win out, which side's going to be able to hold. NQ looks a little worse than ES. ES looks a little bit better. Again, we just got to flip our pivots, and we'll be much more comfortable. There's no need to traverse here or transact here, I should say, if you don't feel comfortable. We just wait until we get out of the 30-second opening range like usual. Or you see a very clear absorption and then secondary sellers step in to push price. With Russell divergence, it's going to be a bit hard. But again, like nothing has changed from our primary short that we took. It's just the 30-second opening range holding. We just need to see if we're going to be able to get back below this 320 and hold offer, or if it's going to continue to just rotate between these two. Because if the bid's here, then like that's fine, but then it needs to show interest over POC. If it does, then we have upside, right? We'll then traverse this, make our POC shift supportive, and then we'll rotate back up. But if we just continue to build here below our open, then we just need follow through below. Right now we have what? A participant here and a participant here. And now we have a range where we're transacting in between them. Same thing on ES, right? So that's why we've identified our two areas. And we can see that. Like there's your POC at the highs, here's your POC at the lows, right? We're playing around with these two participants until something is shifted. It's an inside candle.
According to the FT, Kazakhstan offers to take Iran's uranium stockpile. That's citing a watchdog. So again, according to the FT, Kazakhstan offers to take Iran's uranium stockpile, according to a watchdog.
Maybe this will be a good visual aid for you. It's the same thing that's on our NQ chart, but you can see where the two areas that we're battling with. Right? It's the same thing.
Spot gold extend gains last up 2%.
RTY full oscillation from our halfway back hold to our pivot back to our VWAP. Watch to see if we lose momentum or if we can do something new. NQ and ES coming into our pivots here as well. POC of our previous candle. Need to flip this high for more. And then we can look for POC migration as target if we can flip this. Until then, right, we're just coming into our previous absorption here into 400, 420, 440, whatever you want to call it. But really important to see how we interact here. Do we take in? Do we fail? Right? Does it rotate back through? Unsure. Need to show interest above. This is where they will reject us. Full rotation.
US oil hits intraday low, trades below $87 a barrel.
All right, so if you're playing off of the higher low and recovery of our PVC value low, right, this low, we watch to see if we can flip this, or this is going to be your full rotation into our last known seller, right? This is now complete. Now we watch to see if we can flip and hold, or if this is going to be it, right? This is now where we watch to see if buyers can show interest, or if they're going to trap and then rotate down. Do you see? ES looks so much better than NQ still. Yeah, I think that's good. The rusty hold was good, and you just risk off your first into VWAP here, and then we watch to see if we flip. If we get the flip, then we'll get a bigger move to the upside. New 15's opening here soon. 40 seconds. I would love to see ES be able to maintain on retest into our new 15. Right above this POC to value here. Close up in like something like this. If not, right, it'll just be a really nasty trap, and then we'll look for that rotation back below, and then something like that. But as long as Russell's able to hold higher lows, ES has a very good chance. New 15s, opening above POC to value, very clear pivot here. Watching to see if we can flip this 40. Flipping 40s should allow us to go to like 480, 500 on NQ if we can get it. Might need to retest below first though, into our value of previous candle off of this failure here. Just watching. Again, ES is leading much better. We took out that seller, right? Rotated up. It's holding POC on open new candle with Russell follow through. NQ lagging, right? Still hasn't taken out our last highs. Still into our absorption edge here. Needs to show a bit more, or we'll have to come back down first before we can go up. Just is what it is.
Ukraine's SBU says it has struck a Russia's gas terminal in southern Temeruk port.
Rejecting our 440 like we just talked about. No take out of our highs. Coming back down to our pivot here. This will be an incredibly important area on retest to see if our bid is going to step in. Watching our 440, like 380 area. Just our value of our previous candle. This is our 30-second opening range retest at our 410 to like 380. Just watching to see if we can find a bid here.
The Eurozone bond yield falls after Trump says meeting to make final decision on Iran deal. Germany 10-year bond yield drops to lowest since April, down 3 basis points on the day at 2.927%.
Watching our edge now. This is ES also coming down to retest our pivot like we talked about. We want to see if we can find an active bid to step in here and then get us over 440, or if they're going to trap. into POC to value of our previous candle and into our pivot. No ability to push over our 440 seller from before. Russell continuing to hold VWAP. ES coming down into our pivot. Does this now make sense based off of what I posted of why we care about this area? Again, like we haven't shown that we want to break down, but we haven't shown that we want to break out, right? It's just balance, which is what I was trying to get at before. So we have a very clear pivot that we have to flip for this to feel comfy. We're just rotating or traversing around our 30-second opening range with traders offsides above and below, and then rotations through it. Until something new happens, right? Like there's not a lot happening here. Right? We did not take out our highs. We are holding POC as resistance. We are rotating back down to our value low. We are traversing between these 2 points until we can find acceptance, right, into this top edge. What's there to do, right? We're building slight higher lows. That's good, right? We've retested into that structure. We're watching to see what happens. But the problem is like this is now potentially a trap, right? And if we get below this guy and offer, then what happens? Well, then like this liquidity is offsides. And then we flip, and then we rotate down, right? And we can see like ES did the full move without NQ's participation. We rotated back up to our POC shift, and now we're here. So it just did its full move, while Russell, right, is sideways at our view up, and we're holding our higher low here. But NQ is just sideways between these participants until we can flip. Retesting our opening range high here and our potential lower high at NQ if we keep this liquidity offsides. Very slow. Been really trying here, honey. Yes. Just being taken in so far. They gotta flip it. New 15s in 40 seconds. Just rotating our ranges that we've put on chart. New 15s have opened, still holding lower highs. Very flat area on ES. Well, we're just doing two-sided trading. There isn't as I mean, like there's a seller taking in actively right into our 600, 605 area. But we're not seeing aggressive pressure yet below. I would need this to flip like 590, 595 for me to care, or it's just two-sided trading. Right, like they can take in here all day, but if they can't get us below these buyers, then it doesn't fucking matter. They'll just sell side will eventually die out, right? And then we'll go up. That'd be the idea. So like buyers are holding lows and sell side isn't doing enough yet with the pressure that or with this absorption that they're doing on both ES and NQ. They're holding where they need to, right? But it's just a range trade until we can flip a pivot, just like we've been talking about. So there's not a ton here until we figure out which way they want to take this. Again, they're taking in into 600, 605. They've taken in, you know, like 1,000, 1,200 lots or something on ES, 2,000 lots. Now at 600s. And we've got this lower high on NQ into our 410 to 440 off of this high that we have marked. We're just watching to see if they can like eventually sweep through it once we take out this liquidity with these slight higher lows that we're holding, or if this guy's going to remain off sides and be our first signal of weakness, right? And then our secondary signal of weakness will be a trap here, and then we'll look for, you know, aggressive selling to take place after this for the downside move below our value. It's the same thing on ES, right? Like we know that there's a guy participating up into these highs, but that's not enough, right? Like that's just because someone's taking in size here doesn't mean that it's a good trade. Because we know that there's also someone taking in size here, right? We need something to shift. We want to see someone taking in, but then we want to see follow through afterwards that shows interest below these value areas. And once we do that, then we can look for that active seller, right, that we've shown on the previous examples that then causes that next leg down. Until they're proven otherwise, right, it's just an inside candle with two-sided trading. Does that make sense, that mentality that I'm trying to show you guys? Of just like, we know where the pivot is. We know that we need to flip it for upside. Or we're just going to continue to just kind of like eat up here and trap both sides and make you feel really uncomfy because nothing's happening, right? But you're anticipating a move, but there isn't a catalyst for the move, right? All of our previous trades have been a catalyst-based thing where we've had a trap trader and then we've had an active aggressive seller that stepped in afterwards. That's been our follow through. Right now, we just have someone getting absorbed, but that isn't enough, right? We need an active participant on the other side to then take in and push price. So until then, we're just rotating, and it's a patience game. And we watch to see which way we go, right? Buyers are really trying to continue to maintain these higher lows. They're pushing price up slowly but surely, right? But we're back just again into our seller. Now, what are they going to do with this? Is this going to continue to sell? And then are we going to be able to flip and make these buyers invalidated, right? Or are we going to continue to rotate this range? We don't know. We haven't breached an edge. We haven't shown interest outside of the edges. I would love a 3-bar break, man. Honey, yes, that'd be sick. God, there's just no interest yet above Berkeley AI. What are they like teaching soon? It's like Suno. Yeah. But you'd think that like, listen, like I'm not a proponent of it, but you would think that they would be much better at using that AI tool and creating compositions than the average person because they have musicality behind them, right? Like they have ideas that they want to get out. I'm not saying that they should use it, but they should be able to use the tool better than other people if they actually were trained on it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Like I think AI should be used for like rough drafts, right? For demos. And of course it should be played by live, musicians for concerts and for, like the final release. But like I think it's an amazing tool for demoing. And I think if you're like not utilizing it for demoing, like you're probably there's probably an issue there, right? Like you're probably a little bit of a purist. It's like in the industry, well, not in multiple industries now, but like animation, but also in like visual effects and game design and everything else. Like there's this thing called photo bashing, which is basically your rough draft and all of your concept art is done by taking other people's work and live references and putting them all into, one file and creating your scenario without having to do a full-on painting, right? And then doing a paint over on top of that, basically like collage that you've made of images, and then that's called photo bashing, and it's used in matte painting, which is like for background art. It's used for concepting. And in animation, right, it's the same thing where you use rotoscoped footage. So someone takes, reference video of someone in real life that then gets put into a computer and spliced into frames, and then they're drawn on top of or used as a reference. Or they use a 3D model, right? Like it's just like there's a point where the tool is actually useful, and you can be upset that like it's not pure, but it is slowing down your process. And if your goal as an artist is to create, right, and get your vision out there, then utilizing tools that help get that vision out as easily as possible, right, and not hindering you, right? If you're just not going to create, or you feel like you don't have the ability to create, like those tools can be incredibly useful as a way to help push you in that direction, right? And you not needing as many resources or time to get that vision out. I think purists are, I think they're necessary in the art world, but man, it's it holds down the industry as a whole. Like I think they're needed, but people like full on like
According to Iran's
refusing.
Fars News, saying informed sources have rejected Trump's new claim about a possible deal with Iran, describing his remarks as a mixture of truth and lies, an attempt to portray a fake victory.
I don't. It's like you're putting the chains on yourself out of like tradition, right? Like, I don't think that you should accept that like your work should just be stolen and that, copyright doesn't matter. But I do think that you can utilize tools and train models and do things on your own that make sense to, push your craft in the direction that you want, right? Like I'm a proponent of AI for sure, and I think it can be used incredibly well by studios. But the way that it's being used right now is a little blunt, right? It's the beginning stages where people don't really know how to put it in their workflow yet. But I think once they do, it'll be a great tool. Yeah. Again, just like in like the digital art world, like I think it's a great tool for demoing and for really just expediting the pipeline from presenting to your art director and being like, look, this is my vision, right? This is my demo, this is my storyboard, whatever you want to call it, right? The storyboarding and first visual stages are now like incredibly quick because of tools like this. And then you go in and you add personal touch, right? You actually do the work after that. I don't think AI should be used in a final stage for anything. It doesn't make sense. Human touch is always going to be better, right? The mistakes and the little things that we hear and the little intricacies that we add to music and to art are the things that make things special and make things human. But I think it can be a great, again, tool for your imagination. It's a great way to express ideas. It's not a great way to create a final product. Later, man. I think we're going to get a move relatively soon here. I'm not going to lie. I think this is potentially our trap, but we'll see. I'm just watching our pivots here that we talked about. Right, like look at this from what we've talked about. Do you see how we put in that lower high? It's your full rotation here on NQ off of the failure at our 420, 440. Rotating down into our lows. If we flip this, this will be a great secondary move that we'll put in. Same thing here, bottom rotation here on our ES. You can see on our previous 15 as well, we're just rejecting POC to value and this liquidity is trapped above. We're watching to see if we flip these edges. This will incite a really nice secondary move if this fails. Until then, right, it's bottom of range and we're opening new 15s now. Let's see what they do.
So Iran's files agency just saying informed sources stress there is no provision about destroying Tehran's nuclear materials in the MOU, and the claim is fundamentally baseless.
Just bouncing our low rotations from our previous buyers after we met our passive sellers up at our highs. No secondary moves as of yet, just rotations from our lows. No change. Very passive market up here. We're watching this like 600, I think, on ES for a retest if they're going to put in a lower high. As we push into 600, 602, I'm just watching to see if sell side's going to hold an offer that's aggressive or nothing's going to change. And we just showed that this low is still good. So watching our POC here at 600 on ES to see if they're going to put in this lower high and keep this liquidity trapped and then rotate us below, or if we're just going to do full oscillations again with no real change, right? We want to see a failure to basically do this rotation between our two participants if we're going to do something new, right? Right, like is this now where the offer sits, holding these guys off sides? And can we get below, you know, this buyer here for anything more? Until then, right, there's not a lot going on here other than what we've already identified. We want to see a very clear offer here and then step down below our 90s, and that can lead to more downside after we spotted that absorption and then that seller trying to step in. We're below the POC of our previous 15, right, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing on NQ with our value holding. We want to see sell side really try to flip these areas. If we can get that, then we get something new. If we don't, right, it's just a range trade between our identified buyer and our identified seller. Identified buyer, right? Identified seller. This is what trading around our 30-second opening range with no real direction looks like, right? This is why I always say that it's going to feel pretty gross until we choose a side. You see how we're just oscillating it, trapping above and below, and just making it's a very choppy market in these kind of conditions where we just trade the edges of our 30-second range open. Yeah, I mean, we're literally just transacting within the first 30 seconds of the market open, right? At 11:50 in the afternoon. So no direction has been chosen. Right, we're just taking in size for a larger move to be implemented later. Someone's accumulating. And again, like the easiest thing that you can do for yourself is just only transact when we have a catalyst, right? Just because we're at a level doesn't mean that that level means anything, right? The reason where we look at the areas we look at is because that's where past participants have been located. But we need to see what current participants are doing now, right? And that's where our deltas help a lot because they tell us where aggressive buying and selling is happening in the moment. If you look at all of our past trades, right, we've had a offside buyer and then we've had an aggressive seller for follow through that has given us our legs, right? Given us the initiation that we needed for the movement to happen. So we want to see these participants at these areas, right? For us to have an actually objectively sound trade, or we're just trading levels to trade levels, right? Is there actually a reason we're taking a trade, or are we just bored? That's what we're going to have to ask ourselves, right? Does it meet our criteria? Do we have the conditions been met for us to take a trade that has actionable edge, or are we bored and are we trading just zone to zone, right? Those are the things that you want to ask yourself. Like, am I just trading because I'm bored? Is there something that actually makes sense that makes sense that I would put money on the line, right? Or are we just chopping around with no clear participant that we're playing with, right? It's like every time we talk, it's step one is like, is there someone off sides? Do we have secondary sellers or buyers, right? Are we playing with someone who's actively trading this area? If you like can't even answer that first question, why are you taking the trade? Like, what do you think's going to happen? Are you moving the market? Because if you're not moving the market, then who the hell is? Because you're clearly not trading with anyone who's active, right? So why, where are your expectations coming for this move, right? Our 600 seller was able to defend, but I mean, honestly, there's really not much here on ES until we can flip 590. I'm sad to say. We're just going to rotate down into that right now, and then we'll figure out if we get the next leg or not. Later, Ben. Have a great weekend. New 15s, 40 seconds. Again, I think ES goes to 390 here, but I don't know how reactive it's going to be. But 390 is looking like it makes sense. So we push down, the buyers flagging that on Dom. Like 250, 230 contracts showing down there. That's also just our 30-second opening range. It's nothing crazy. And our pivot here needs to flip for more. RTY diverging up. NQ just at our basing. Needs to get below this 320 for anything new. Just like our 590 on ES, where it's just bottom of our balance. Again, Russell diverging to the upside, pushing up into our 30-second opening range. Full rotations up from our bottom of balance, no change. Rotating back up into our 600 seller. That is a full oscillation of NQ on the 30-second opening range there, right? Just pushing up into our daily POC. So what are we showing when we see these holds at our lows without a desire to push below after absorbing? Well, to me, I actively am seeing this as like exactly that, right? Sell side showing no interest and then us maintaining these lows. That's a good sign for the market. Yeah, right. Like that's kind of what they're showing us. Right. But we still need to push over our pivot. But once we do, right, that can create the squeeze pressure that we need if sell side is just going to take it in and then we don't have follow through, right, from participants at our lows. No flip, continued bids where we needed them, right? This liquidity is still offsides below. Our main pivots are still holding with Russell divergence to upside. Like this could be a pretty big deal if we can flip these. It's still just a balance trade, but with the lack of desire at our lows and the continued willingness to take in there, it is becoming more and more interesting. We'll see what they do, but this is like the last. I'm gonna delete these on Russell because I think that this area is really important to mention. Russell is like at its big pivot, right? This is its distribution. We've now fully retraced back up to its open. So, like, what do we do here now, right? What happens here? Can we get back into this range? Right, like what do we do here?
So Al Jazeera reporter Noureddin on X, just posting here, says everything might be ready for an official announcement despite some discrepancies between Tehran and Washington on files that are on their way to a resolution. And the main sticking point may remain how to achieve a consensus, especially since it will be a post-war consensus and not a consensus in a time of peace.
Pushing into our highs now, watching to see if we can flip this absorption on ES as we push in again into the 600, 605 area. Bid is really trying, right? We held our lows, we're testing our highs, we're watching to see if we can do anything new. We'll really want to see a very clear flip of this, and then so we can go from there. Russell continuing to push, right, diverging and showing that interest to the upside. And Q top of range, watching our 440 like we've been talking about. We want to flip that, make that supportive, and then we have room to the upside, to at least like 490, 500. If we can get out of here, just back to our top edge, right? Do you see why I say like it's so important for us to flip these areas for short bias or for a long bias? It's like we're just trading between balance. Like these are just our edges where we've identified active participants. And until something changes, right? Like that's the auction. And like I was telling Ben earlier, it's like what's the catalyst that's going to get us out of here? right? We can identify where these participants are, but we can't predict the breakdown until we see that we have any desire to trade outside of this auction, right? It's just a rotation. And so, like, if we can get this pop, right, then we'll have clear sellers who are off sides, right? And then we'll look for secondary buyers to then start to lift us out. But like, you can't, you need the catalyst, man. Like, you just do. RTY diverging to the upside was a great helpful indicator to let you know not to fucking short, right? Like, that'll keep you out. But also, just these areas can be incredibly dangerous because people will just give back profits getting chopped up at our 30-second opening range for no reason. And just like be patient, man. We had 2 beautiful examples and setups this morning. And now we've gotten some really nice rotational trades if you're willing to take them. If not, we'll potentially have a really nice break here if we can get this hold on the upside. We'll see. Nice. That's from the 40, the 400, 410. Makes sense. Yeah, I have 1 there as well. I have 1 left.
So according to another Al Jazeera reporter on X, it's a different reporter, they're saying that a highly informed source is telling them that Trump's post on Truth Social regarding lifting the siege was actually the first condition before moving on to the rest of the agreement steps. And according to the source, Tehran insisted on an official and public announcement first. It seemed that Trump tried to present the matter as a secondary detail among larger files, while Iran considers it an essential step to build trust before entering the more sensitive files.
Oh my god. Good hold of our 30-second opening range high and our previous seller right here. But just pushing back up into our 440. Need to show interest above for anything new, just like we've been talking about. Good hold of our low though there. Rotating back up. Yes, holding our daily POC here at our mid of our range. Rotating back up to highs. You gotta show interest outside, man. they gotta. Continued lack of desire, inability to take out highs, retesting our pivot here at our 400, 410 area. Watching to see if sell side starts to step in for another rotation through our range or if something new is going to happen. I'm keeping an eye on Russell. I know it's hard to see because we're so zoomed out. But RTY looks like it wants to head back down to VWAP.
Senior Iranian sources say the possible MOU between Tehran and Washington does not include any nuclear-related issues. Trump's claims about Iran's highly enriched uranium stockpile is not true.
Sorry, I just had to redo that to show you our edges. A little zoomed out with how much action we've done here. I'll do the same thing on ES.
Hello, Friday traders.
Yo.
Another kind of classic Globex move, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Today has been okay with the look back in.
It was a really nice morning, and then it really started to slow down when this back and forth news started to show up. The market doesn't know what to do.
So in 10 minutes time now at 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time, Fed's Daily is due to be speaking at the 2026 Reagan National Economic Forum. No text is expected, but there will be a Q&A from the moderator. Keep in mind Fed's Daily is not a voting member on the FOMC this year.
Just like some pretty clear zones on NQ. Our 360, I don't know, 40 area, if you want to call it that. And then this 420 to 440. Just no interest above or below as of yet. ES, someone taking in size at 600 to 605. Pretty clear. And someone taking in size at 590 into our lows, just range. Watching Russell as we come back down to VWAP after a rejection of our 30-second opening range, almost at VWAP, and then we'll see what we do.
Hopefully we don't just compress. Yesterday afternoon was just brutal. I mean, the rotations were fine, but just like
Yeah,
the range compression was like, ugh.
makes you not want to take anything regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we get the rotation down here on NQ. Let's see. Watching our reoffer of 420.
Iranian source says a political understanding has been reached between Iran and the US, but it has not yet been finalized. So again, senior Iranian source says a political understanding has been reached between Iran and the US, but it has not yet been finalized.
I don't know if it's invalidated. We'll see. I mean, that news candle is kind of gross, but if we get over 430, 450, then we squeeze punishing these guys. But if it holds, there's no change. Yeah, let's see. That sucks. I'm sorry, man. That's our full rotation on ES into our low. Now rotating fully back up. I'm just watching to see if we flip this 430, 450, or if this holds. This will be where our offer sits, if anywhere, into this 430. Yeah. You just did a full oscillation. So now it's RTY testing halfway back after VWAP bounce and ES low. So like it's either now or never, right? We have the momentum off of that or it fades. Watching 430, 450, 430 offer. See what they do. Can we flip or does it hold? I'm just going to redo this so it's a bit cleaner now that we have so much range. This higher low bid here at 415, like they have to hold this 405, 415 buyers and then get over this 450 from this hold if they're going to do anything with it. Or like again, like I don't see the narrative. Watching 430 to 450 here.
Are you going to do it, Ty? Are you going to be the liquidity?
Good hold so far, but again, it's got to flip this, or this is that 430, 450.
The Wall Street Journal just commenting that the UAE has conducted dozens of strikes in coordinations with the US and Israel.
Yeah, no shit.
So we have heard similar things coming out about this, saying that the UAE, throughout the conflict, has been participating alongside the US and Israel just secretly, and then again just seeing after the fact reports saying this.
ES leading. This guy's a little trapped here at that 415, 420 on NQ. Good bid there from a recovery of that value low of that top range. Just rotating up into our highs now. Need to take them out and then show interest. Mm-mm. Yeah. No interest
Goodbye,
in over
sir.
50s. Back below 30 here. Just watching our 15 to like 05. I'll try to reoffer this at 30. God, get me out of here, man. We should be able to, this should be your first risk off if you're playing the reoffer of 430. If we can flip below, then we might have more, but you need to take some profit here. This is where the bid rests into this 415, 405, like we talked about. 430, 450 continuing to maintain. 430 reoffer was solid, but not a ton of points yet. Again, this is our value of this little distribution here. We need to show interest below, or this will be where the bid rests. This has to be like a clear as fuck lower high here as we retest back in. Or again, like this is just an active bid showing you that they're still active at a higher low. And then we probably will take out, right, our highs on this attempt. You got a nice little reoffer here from that hold, but this is where the bid is. We need to see now sell side really try to slap us and then flip, or the potential of us doing this from this hold is pretty high. Remember, this is the battle for our top of balance, right? We've still shown no desire to push outside of this, but they are trying to build out these higher lows and build in this upper edge. So like this 415, 405 is where we're watching to see if these buyers are going to be able to maintain so that we can get this push out. If these guys fail here from this 430 and get pushed below and then offer this, then we have the room down to 360 to 340. But we are battling right now, right, in this upper structure, and that's really important to remember, is that there's been no desire yet to really do anything on the downside, but we are at the top of our range. So we just are watching to see how these buyers are going to interact here. And if this was enough to, you know, hold, can we hold this liquidity off? And can we bid and then pop, or does this offer continue to maintain that's here off this node? Right, like we just have two views, right? We're one where we're transacting in an inside bar, right, at the top of our range, and a second where we're watching this smaller auction on the smaller time frame, watching to see our overall direction. I just want to make sure that that's clear. Yes, into daily POC, NQ into our 405, which is your 30-second opening range high, and where we need to flip if we're going to see more downside. It's a great secondary target if you didn't take off at 415. We watch to see if we can flip and a sell side steps down more aggressively for the full rotation. Again, this is where if the bid is going to be anywhere, they'll try to defend this, would be my guess, with Russell coming into view up.
You have some underlines into pretty important like node edges and value tests as well. Our confluence there, like Tesla, Nvidia.
Either move stops down or take profits to our new pivot now that we're retesting our lows following plan. This is your next target as we push into that wick low. Now we watch to see what we do here. Watching our reoffer here into that 405, 415, seeing if we can hold that edge now on the flip, or if that's all we get. Russell still holding view up, no change. Watching our pivot, seeing if we trap liquidity here once again. Testing in now. Not seeing really anything yet, but pushing into our area. Nothing really aggressive on either side yet. Great reaction off our 405, 415 so far. Decent amount of points. See if we can get down to that like 65 area, or if that's all we get. Smooth stops down. Big buying note here on ES into 795. Or sorry, 595 to 590. It's bottom of our range here again on ES. NQ, bottom of our range again is like this 60 to 40. But following our pathing pretty well. I just don't know if we're going to get a ton more here. Just got to watch. Right, there's your reoffer at that 405, 415. Push down, take out lows. Now they've taken out lows. What do we do? Right, do we get the full transition through the range? I don't know. We'll find out.
So keep in mind at the top of the hour, see the release of the weekly Baker Hughes rig count numbers. Total rigs, they saw a prior read of 558, while oil rigs saw a prior read of 425. One minute now until we get the Baker Hughes rig count numbers. Total rigs 562, which is an increase in 4 rigs, while oil rigs at 429, showing those 4 rig increases to be in the oil rigs.
You like that, Zeno? Rory.
Here, playing off 405, 415. This is your first risk off, just like before, as we push down into this 80, 85. I'd like to see 65s, but it's very slow market. This is ETHI, which is why you're taking your first risk off here. And then we look for 365 for secondaries if we can get it. No change. 430, 450 highs held. Offer in 405, 415. Rotation back down.
Feds Daily says barriers to getting sustained productivity growth from AI are largely regulatory.
Yes, bottom of range. Buyers still here, 95 to 590. Someone's taking a big ass size on ES down here. You see that?
And Daily says, seen green shoots for productivity growth from AI. And Daily says, don't see mass unemployment or displacement from AI.
Dude, if a Steam Deck is now $1,000, what's the PC gonna be?
I saw that. Gonna be $8 million.
Yikes.
When I saw comparison charts, I didn't realize that like a PS5 Pro is like $1,000 as well. Like $900.
Yikes.
Which in that like context, I think if the Steam console thing ends up being like $1,200, I still think it's worth it.
1,200, yeah, but I think it's like the hardware is way better than the Steam Deck. I don't see
Well,
how
that
they can
yeah,
do
that's
it.
what I'm saying. Like,
Just don't get it.
well, at that price point, like 1,200, like you could just build a PC
Yeah,
and hook it up to your TV. Like,
because it's for
so
1080, so it's not like it's crazy. That's all they're trying to get is 1080p.
Iran Foreign Ministry spokesperson Bagai to State TV says, at this stage, we are focused on ending the war. We are not negotiating over Iran's nuclear program.
This market is ass. I don't know. I mean, I'm really trying for this 65, but I don't have a lot of confidence. I didn't add. I'm just playing our pathing that I posted. Like, yeah, the bid here makes sense, and it makes sense to take your first PT. I only have one contract, so either I get stopped for, you know, 10 points for 200 bones, or we go down to my secondary target at 65s. I can't be bothered to overtrade.
Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson Baghai says the management of the Strait of Hormuz must be decided by Iran and Oman. And Iran's Baghai says no agreement has been finalized with the United States so far.
Which one? I'm reading through all this stuff right now, Rory. Yeah, it's massive, dude.
Fed's Daily says it's important for Fed to restore price stability, but not at the expense of harming the economy. Bank of England's Bailey says UK banks don't have access to MFFU. And Bailey says UK banks have access to other models. Daly says productivity growth is an important way for growth to expand, allowing companies to hire more workers. Bank of England's Bailey says Glasswing Phase 2 hasn't happened yet.
Think so, Rory. Well, that's also true, guys. RTY up into the highs.
Bro, I'm about to just take my $400 and fuck off. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is
Yeah.
this sucks.
Bailey says must have international approach to the cyber risk.
Yeah. Okay. I can't be bothered, boys. I'm sorry. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. I only had one contract and I'm not holding. I can't be bothered. Maybe it goes now without me, but 405 to 385. Yeah, I don't know. We took the 430 reoffer once we saw them push back inside, played that down to our first target here at our 415, 410 area. And then just played the 405, 415 reoffer for secondaries for this push down. Just watch as we push down into 65s. I can't be bothered to trade here anymore. It's just my patience is gone. I am done. There it is. GG's.
Woohoo!
I can't be bothered.
So according to IRNA, Iran Foreign Ministry says no final understanding reached. So again, according to Iran's IRNA, Iran's Foreign Ministry saying that no final understanding has been reached.
Good job. Yeah, I don't know. I'm done with this area. I've traded this area to its I'm disgusted at it. You know, I'm at that point. I've taken all that I can out of it. I'm not trading another rotation. If we flip out of it, sure, I'll play, but like I'm not buying this again. Yeah, no, I'm sick of the Iran headlines every 5 seconds. Like we all know that there's not going to be a fucking peace deal. You know what I mean? Like what are we doing? I can't be bothered. But that's your full rotation. If we show interest outside of value below 340 and reoffer it, I'll play it. If not, like it's just going to
Bank
be
of
the
England's
same
Bailey says there are no
garbage
signs of
again.
strains in private credit and stable coin proposals before the summer.
I have no issues not taking this last PT for $300 more. I took my 400. This is 700. If we get the offer and flip, I'll play that and then I'll make my money. But if not, you know.
IRNA saying Iran, quoting Iran saying exchanges of messages with the US is continuing. So again, Iran says exchange of messages with the US is continuing. This is according to IRNA.
A little late night check-in, you know? I hope so.
So IRNA citing a foreign ministry spokesperson on US talks.
There's your bid from 65s, rotation back up to our 85 from our low. Again, yep.
So Job just put out quite a long True Social post here, saying that he's spending the week reviewing the Iranian war and is now convinced that they're on the edge of a historic victory. Excuse me, he's retweeting a journalist saying, after spending this week reviewing the Iranian war, I'm now convinced President Trump is on the edge of historic victory. So again, that's not his words. He's quoting someone else in a True Social post.
Flippers.
Oh,
Bank of England's Bailey says the Bank of England use of AI is growing.
Sick in fact could be bothered, true. But I can't be bothered to lose money being emotional. That's what I mean by that. If I'm getting frustrated, it's not worth it. Being profitable and frustrated is just annoying, man. Like, I made money and I'm mad. Like, it's just like, okay, well, like, what's gonna happen if I'm mad and also not making money? I'm gonna make even worse decisions. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to stop. If I'm pissed and I made money off the trade, imagine if I lose money. I'm very interested at this NQ participant here who just got absolutely ruined at our 85 retest. I'm not excited enough to try to short 60 to 40, but I do see the participant that I think could potentially be our next catalyst if we can get some follow through here. Just watching this guy.
So according to the Financial Times, again, Bank of England's Bailey says a ceasefire would still create uncertainty. And that concludes Bailey's interview with the FT.
New 15s, 10 seconds. They just tried to sweep that low into our 40 to 60 off of that. Again, that guy is just trapped. New 15s opening below POC to value of our previous candle on NQ. A little bit of a divergence. Russell still diverging completely from ES and our really watching our pivot here. Again, this 40 to 60 has been incredibly willing to take. I would need this to flip. They're trying, but so far being absorbed. I'd love to see full market participation and not just NQ. Or I feel like it'll end up being a trap.
So excuse me, the Bank of England Bailey's interview is still going on, and Bailey says 60-day pause would be helpful, but not the end issue.
Man, it's insane how much money horror movies pay, like make, because their budgets are so low. Look at like the Obsession stats. 750K budget, 100 million worldwide right now.
Holy.
What?
That's some Rory ROI. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, man. Holy.
You get to watch a documentary on one of my exes. That'll be huge for you, Rory. Oh boy. Ugly? What? Ugly. Crazy? Probably a better word. The Chinese lady.
I love how Rory thinks before he speaks. Always.
What did
It's
you mean?
my favorite quality he has.
What did you mean by Chinese people are ugly? What did you mean
Yeah,
by
what's
that?
going on here, man?
What do you mean? That's exactly what you just said. That's crazy, man. How do I feel? Not great, man. But I don't think it's the med's fault. I got a lot going on. My sleep was better until last night, actually. Last night was rough. Very rough. It's all good, man. It's self-inflicted for the most part. No, I mean, I don't have control over, but my decisions I do.
Rory is literally just a guy.
All right. I don't know, man. I'm gonna try to start posting some of the trades that I think are pretty solid setup wise on Twitter. Those will be posted in trade review. If you guys could interact with them, that'd be sick. If you don't want to, I totally get it. But I will try. But I'll just try to keep a log going. And they're really trying to absorb into this 65, 70 area. Hold our pivot. And buyers getting a bit stuffed, but again, no interest yet below 40. Russell just doing another oscillation. Back down to view up from our highs. Thank you, Roy. They're trying to do it, man. They're trying to take it down. $50 till new 15s into our 40 here. I think it's a good reminder just of why we were watching this area. I'll put it in chat. Right, this was our big flip that we saw from these lows, and then where sellers got absorbed after we absorbed those buyers from before. Right, where the bid was able to hold and push, and then we saw these guys get pushed down, and then we saw them get taken in, and then we held, and then we did this rotation, right? So now we're watching this area again to see if we can flip it, or if this is going to remain, and then we go back up. Just two big pivots on the day, right? Into that 40, where we took our short for this rotation down, back down to these lows, and now we're watching to see if these guys are going to continue to be offsides, and we can use this as a catalyst to do something new, right? We want to see them get taken and then trapped here to take out these lows, ideally, if we're going to continue to maintain. Just gotta keep an eye on it. But so far, again, they're taking into this 60 to 70 area. And we're just watching to see if they can get this secondary leg down for something new. All right, here's our retest, guys. We'll watch to see if offer sticks here on ES and NQ as we're pushing into POC of our previous candle and into this fixed range, or if we'll flip and be able to get back above and sustain off of another failure at our 40s. All right, we're watching to see if sell side sits into this and gets below, or if this will hold and get above. Same thing on ES. Hopefully we get some speed if it's going to do anything. Or again, it's just going to be the same failure at 40 and then rotation through our range. Yeah, I think that's fine. We just need to get below 40 now and see if an offer will stick or it's just going to be bouncy. Yeah, 20 points is 20 points, but we want to see them like really try to sweep it on that retest to show that there's desire. If they don't show desire, like it's Jover, man. So it's a great like first area to risk off here, and then just try to leave a runner for the sweep if it's going to happen. Or you can just leave it break even. I mean, I don't know. Might as well take half off. That's what I did. Let's see if they can sweep this shit. They're trying. Fucking finally. Okay, let's see if we get more. Just took off a little bit more.
Apple kind of getting grished. You like the delta bubbles, Ronnie?
Okay, so we held where we needed to. We rejected our previous value here. We rotated down after we identified a trap trader, and we now are holding that POC to value of our previous candle on both ES and NQ on retest, and have now seen sellers step down. Right? It's a good trade. Met all our criteria. Right? Just watching this like 310 where our POC shifted from this previous range as target, and then 280 below that to test those lows if we're going to go further. Yeah, that'll be my last trade of the day as well. Took fucking forever. Good job, man. I'm glad we could get something out of this abysmal market. This is ES target as well into our liquidity here. We would need to flip below this 580, 585 for more. This is previous day POC to value for me. So, but it's a very clear pivot that if we can breach and hold, then we get a really nice move. But until then, right, we look into it, we watch to see what we do. If we can flip it, awesome. We go to ETH low then. If this holds, then we take profit. This is Russell into VWAP as well. And we watch to see what we do. Again, 310 and then 280 below are my next targets on NQ. Jesus, it took fucking forever. Ugh.
I'm to stack some buffs. Holy. Rory, did you figure out what your league's starting yet?
There's your break below with those selling, right? And then we can see that on the 15-minute as well. Again, with our trap there into previous 15-minute candle, that holding. New 15s have just opened, expect some volatility. See if we can hold this like 310 area for that last leg down into 280, or if that's all we get. ES testing into our 80s now. We have value of our previous candle at this 310, 320. I'm just watching this void from the 15-minute candle to see if we'll hold the LVN, right? If we can hold that as offer, then we get one more leg down. If not, then we'll have to come back up to 340. So again, just watching this LVN here, and that also shows on our footprint. We watch to see if sell side sits there for that last leg. You can see that on both for that offer potential. Just keep an eye on it. If not, then we'll have to rotate back up to POC. I'm not adding. I can't be bothered. There's not enough information here. Yes, held our pivot, rotating back. All right, I'm done. That was a great last trade. It either stops me out or it goes to target on my last contract. I can't. I don't care. You guys have a good one. Yeah. I don't know. Peace. Have a good weekend.
We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Later.
Bye.